Welcome back everyone, I'm here and I hope you're all doing well. Today I've got some posts from Best of Reddit updates. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This one was originally posted by Alpaca Stampede to True Off My Chest, and the tagline is, I ended up being the other woman, and now the wife is trying to ruin my life. I, 38F, have been dating David, 42M, for about 18 months. He lives about 45 minutes away from me, so I thought, and so we typically only saw each other in person 1 to 2 times a week. For me, this was perfectly normal. I have no desire to ever get married, my parents' marriage was a shit show, and I focus on my job/career. My job is very involved and demands a lot, so I was really grateful to find a partner who understood my time constraints. I was also really happy to find a partner who was able to fully support himself and was not looking to move in together. We first met at a UKG conference, of all things, at the end of August in 2024. We worked in different industries/fields, but we both supported the same software. He was super charismatic and really fun to talk with. He instantly made me feel comfortable and like he was a friend. We exchanged information at the conference, which wasn't out of the ordinary since I also exchanged information with other people at this same conference. This conference was made for users to get in touch with each other and make local contacts to work with to ask each other questions about how we use and support the software. A few weeks later, he asked if I wanted to meet up, and I'm not going to lie, I found him really attractive, so I agreed. We got together for lunch and things turned from a colleague situation to a romantic one. Within the next month and a half, we had been regularly seeing each other. Our lives seemed to work really well together. He understood how demanding my job is and that I don't have the ability to be available for more than texting and phone calls on a regular basis. He was okay with that, and I took that as him making concessions for me in my career. Over the next 6 months, things were really smooth, and I felt like I was in the best relationship of my life. Around that April, he specifically really pushed me to call ourselves official, which was a bit weird to me because I felt that we obviously were based on our communication and interaction with each other. He specifically pushed for me to call us official, and we were texting each other multiple times every day. It seemed like a weird switch up and question at the time, but David made it seem like I was overreacting. Okay, hold on. He was the one who pushed to make things official. That detail right there is genuinely interesting because think about it. If you're a married man running a side relationship and things are going too smoothly, you might start to get a little paranoid. You'd want to lock the other person in emotionally, make them feel secure, committed, invested, so they don't start asking too many questions. The let's make it official move wasn't romantic, that was a control move. And then when she questioned it, he immediately flipped on her. Classic. Okay, keep going. I eventually lost the feeling like things were weird because we fell into this regular schedule of him coming over in the evenings a couple of times during the week and him spending weekends at my place. This seemed like a perfectly normal relationship to me, and now I'm just questioning myself constantly and trying to rethink if there were hidden behaviors that I missed. It's now been 3 weeks since his wife reached out to me and basically blew up my world. She introduced herself very kindly, let me know that they had been married for over 15 years and have 2 kids together. I had so many questions because none of this made any sense to me. I responded to her with my questions, but after that first contact, she never got back to me or responded to me again. I did some background check digging into Dave, and while he does actually work for the company he claimed, he actually lives in an entirely different state. I really have no idea how he can travel between the 2 states so frequently. The cost alone must be crazy, unless he's been lying about his job role and he's actually a traveling consultant instead of a system admin. I really don't know at this point. I've spent over a year of my life on this man who has lied to me the entire time. I feel so incredibly disgusted. On top of this betrayal from Dave, his wife somehow found not only me, but also my mother, and has reached out to my mom to bash me and say all sorts of horrible things about me. Mind you, Dave has met my mom, and we have had dinner together multiple times. I don't even know where to go from here. At this point, I'm ready to just not trust anyone ever again. I am just feeling really lied to, like I'm an idiot for falling for all of this, and I just want to curl up and disappear for a while. Let's look at some of the comments. Infamous Cup 7097. It sucks he lied and you ended up in this situation. That being said, you need to never contact the wife again. Your relationship with him may have been real for you, but the person whose life just turned upside down is actually the wife and kids. She doesn't owe you answers, and she is probably mad about you asking her questions instead of just reading the message, telling her sorry you didn't know, and then moving on to do your own research. For a relationship that you are looking for, you may encounter more men who are looking for just a side piece. Be careful and do your research before going too far with any potentials. You also might want to avoid meeting people connected to your work in any way. OP's reply: my main issue is that she is now contacting my family. This has all come out of nowhere for me. She isn't responding to me, which is fine if that is what she wants, but she's contacting my family and claiming all sorts of things about me and calling me all kinds of names to my mom. How is that okay? I had zero idea, but she's making this sound like this is all something I did to her instead of her husband doing that to her. How is that okay? And this is where it gets layered for me. Look, I completely understand why the wife is in nuclear mode. She just found out her husband of 15 years has been maintaining an entire second relationship in a different state. But your fury is pointed at the wrong person. OP didn't know. And going after her family, going after her mom, that's not grieving, that's scorched earth. And it doesn't heal a single thing. It just creates a second victim in a situation that already has one. Alarmed Macaroon 9506. Well, I kind of have a couple of questions too. In a year and a half, you have never been to his place. And are you sure this is another woman texting your mother and you, and not somehow possible that Dave is somehow batshit crazy and reaching out to family members and fucking your life up? You're sure this woman exists? OP's reply: there were weekends that we spent a few hours at his place before we went out to dinner or other dates, but looking back, I think realistically, those could have been Airbnbs that he just regularly booked. ETA, I looked up the address of his place, and it is an Airbnb. I had no reason to think it was that at the time. Maleficent Theory 818. She may be attempting to hold the marriage together now, so she is going to go scorched earth on you. It is easier to blame you than him. Did he give you any reasons why you couldn't spend time with him at his place? That is a huge red flag. I get you had no idea he was married. Let your family know what happened and ask them to block her number. If she continues with the harassment, you may want to hire a lawyer to send a simple cease and desist letter. OP's reply: we did spend some times at his place. Mainly we spent time at my place for my convenience, but we did have several, and I mean 6 to 10 times that we were at his place, that now looking the location up, I am seeing as an Airbnb, and I just didn't know how to react to that. I'm just finding that out today. Another level of trust broken. The comment from Maleficent Theory 818 actually nailed it. It is easier to blame you than him. And yeah, that's the sad truth here. He built the whole lie. He's the one who cheated. But he's also the one she's trying to save the marriage with. So she can't torture him in the same way. OP is a safe target. Adorable Strength 319. Is the info that he lives in another state up to date? Did she have proof that they're married? I can't imagine how someone could travel that much and make it work. Like every weekend and a couple of nights a week, not staying the night. How much driving would that add up to? I'd start doing that kind of math. Hours traveling plus cost. At least your mom will believe that you didn't know she was married. I hope she doesn't try to contact your work. Have you talked to him? Did he admit it? This blows my mind. OP's reply: I have avoided talking to him at this point. Conversations with my mom have been understanding. At the same time, I had a nightmare last night about this. I do take melatonin when I sleep, but I had a dream that his wife came to my mom's house with her kids and discussed with my mom how horrible I am. I know I'm taking a lot of this guilt onto myself. The background check I did on him shows he has shared property with his wife. I genuinely feel so stupid. Update 1 after 1 month. Even though I never ended things with Dave, I blocked him everywhere and have cut all contact with him. There is no way I will ever be in contact with him again. I did end up contacting a lawyer about the situation because of how Dave's wife, Cindy, ended up escalating the situation. There is now a restraining order in my state against both of them, and the way my state writes the restraining order, it says the order can be enforced in any other state whether or not the restraining order has been registered in that state. It is not clear if it is either Dave or Cindy that are continuing to harass me after the restraining order was put in place, but the harassment has continued, so my lawyer is looking into the situation and is pursuing the case across state lines at this point. Things ended up escalating quickly after my post. Either the wife or someone close to her that knew the situation found my post. Within 2 days, I started to receive constant text messages from an area code across the country from them, saying all sorts of horrible things that were directly related to my relationship with Dave. I blocked about 15 different phone numbers before I realized I needed to contact a lawyer about this. My lawyer was able to get an ERO that ended up turning into an RO because of the severity of the messages that I was receiving. To this day, I am still getting at least 5 to 20 text messages per day from random phone numbers around the country. My mother was also getting text messages for a short period of time, but that has stopped. I cannot get into the litigation info too much because I am trying to protect myself and my family. At this point, my lawyer is doing the best he can to get the harassment to stop, and is working with local law enforcement on the possibility that any criminal charges can be filed due to the severity of the harassment. Okay, so within 1 month, this went from my world just blew up to restraining orders, emergency protective orders, and cross-state litigation. That is how bad the harassment got. 15 text messages a day from random numbers across the country. That's not a heartbroken wife venting. It's terrorism, because she's attacking OP with messages. And I want to be really clear here. Whether it's Cindy or Dave or both of them orchestrating this, OP is being punished for something she had zero part in building. In response to the comments and messages I received, holy hell, no, I do not think that my lifestyle choices mean that I will only attract married men. What the fuck? No, I did not suspect anything based on him being able to accommodate my availability. My work has long hours and has a lot of on-call. I was looking for someone who would be understanding and accepting of my limitations. For the people questioning me visiting his house, yes, it was always the same place. Yes, he had clothes in the closets, food stocked in the fridge, and the place looked like it was lived in. I do not have a lot of experience with Airbnb, but from what I googled after, this seems pretty common that people will just rent out their fully furnished house. How in the world would I have ever known? Seriously, what the fuck? Anyhow, this will likely be my last update. I have had to block out my account because of the amount of DMs I was receiving. Really, some of you can be major assholes. At this point, I just want to be left alone, and it looks like I will be fighting in court to make that happen. Final update, after 50 days, after 21 days from the last post. I posted 2 months ago about finding out that I was the other woman. A lot has happened in the last 2 months. I immediately broke all contact with David and have not had any contact with him since. I blocked him everywhere. I also had to retain a lawyer mainly because I had no idea where this was going, and David's wife was reaching out to anyone she even had a thought knew me. Because she kept reaching out to everyone she could find that had a connection to me, we ended up sending her a cease and desist letter. I have moved away from the city that was our place, and he does not know where I live now. He has tried to contact me to fix things with us. However, my stance is that there is no us. Everything he ever told me was a lie. In response to some of the comments and DMs that I received, no, I do not think it is odd or weird to have a relationship where you only see each other 1 to 2 times a week. Like I said, I am a very busy person, and I do not have a lot of free time. I also went to his place regularly. It was a fully furnished apartment with a fully stocked kitchen. There was food in his fridge, snacks in the pantry. There was zero indication that this was not a place that he lived in. Did I go through his closets? No, because who the fuck does that? That is weird as fuck. At the end of the day, I was a victim of a horrible man who was violating his wife and me at the same time. I'm seeing a therapist to help process this whole situation. And we get into the comments again. Khaki value. I hope OP is okay. Like her, it wouldn't have occurred to me to see someone more than 1 to 2 times per week, and I would have also thought, wow, what an amazing and mature guy who understands that I have other commitments, need for personal time, etc. He and his awful wife deserve each other though, because going to OP's family and everything else is in such poor taste. Affectionate Wheel 386. I'm finding all the time that people need to check the persons they are dating. Check them online and Google them, especially if there's a distance and it seems too good to be true. You didn't know what you are going to do, but it's a lesson to make sure you're doing a little background checking when you start dating. I'm sorry you're in this predicament. Special response 7372. I hope OP wins big in court. I understand being cheated on, my ex-husband did, and wanting revenge, but I do not understand going scorched earth on and continually harassing the AP, affair partner, especially when they didn't know they were the affair partner. Different total 5894. In 18 months of seeing this man, you never met any of his friends, family. Didn't talk to him much about life experiences before you came into his life. Just friends with benefits. Excuse me if I'm out of line here, but wouldn't it occur to you to be cautious of a stranger and verify who they are before getting into an entanglement? I mean, you looked him up after the wife reached out to you. Couldn't you have looked him up before investing your time? I personally believe that you and his wife are victims of his shenanigans, but next time, verify the man before you lay with the man. At the end of the day, Dave deceived 2 women simultaneously. And somehow, the wife decided OP was the right target for her rage. I get the pain, but you're torching the wrong person. The real villain here walked away while both of you burned. And this is story number 2. The post was originally written by Molasses Lazy 4093 on our relationships. And the tagline is, I'm 25M, leaving my partner 33M of 7 years tomorrow. Hi, I've only posted on Reddit a few times, and I figured this subreddit would be good for advice. I'm leaving my partner of 7 years, and while I'm relieved to finally cut ties with him, I feel an overwhelming sense of guilt for how I'm doing it. My partner, I'll call him Dave, and I have been together for around 7 years now. We met when I had just turned 18 and he was 27. When we first got together, everything moved excruciatingly fast. We'd met in January, started dating in February, and moved in together in April. We'd had an extremely rocky relationship. I wasn't mature and couldn't handle adult life very well. He wanted freedom and independence but felt obligated to take care of me since he moved me an hour from my parents and convinced me to cut them off. There was a lot of him cheating, us arguing all the time, and me struggling to navigate a new city, new relationship, and a completely different job market. Over the years, as I've grown mentally and developed more into my own person, the arguments grew less frequent. Until I started making more money, had my own car, and gained friendship and bonds. He started to get more controlling, more comfortable flipping from overly sweet to hostile, more aware of who I was with, where I was going, and my location. An incident happened where he went too far and I realized I needed out. I've been scared of him ever since. I have an apartment in a new city, friends to help me move, new job lined up, and everything covered. What's got me stuck is, I feel guilty? I pick up my keys Saturday and have a place to stay after I break the news tomorrow. But he's being so kind and so sentimental, and part of me feels bad and like I'm taking the coward's way out. This has been my first actual relationship ever, and my first time dealing with breaking up. So I'm not sure how to break the news. Everyone says he doesn't deserve the closure, and I should just not say anything. But I'm unsure of if that's the years of feeling like I have to justify every action to him talking or not. My head is a little all over the place. TLDR, I'm leaving my partner of 7 years, and because of an incident that happened between us, I didn't feel safe telling him I was leaving until I was sure I could. Tomorrow is the day I finally tell him, and I'm not sure if I'm doing it the right way. Okay, so the guilt makes total sense, honestly. When someone has spent 7 years being told to justify every single move they make, guilt becomes the default. It's not weakness, it's just what happens when that kind of conditioning gets deep enough. The fact that he's questioning himself right now, that's not him being naive, that's just the pattern doing exactly what it was designed to do. And let's get into the comments. Commenter 1. He groomed you and isolated you from your parents when you were a teenager. Run and don't look back. You owe him nothing. OP. I didn't even think about that in the grand scheme of things. We'd met online and he swears he didn't know my age before talking to me, but it was oddly suspicious that he didn't start texting me until after my 18th birthday. Oh, I'm feeling weird all over again now that I'm thinking more. Commenter 2. Was he violent when he went too far? If yes, you telling him you are about to leave may be a life or death situation. You are still younger than the age he was when he first dated you. Would you date an 18-year-old now at 25 years old? In 7 years, you've gained life experience that a teenager would not have. You have a career, money, and knowledge. Your boyfriend is a predator. He chose you because he wanted to mold you and isolate you. Him being nice now is because he can tell he's losing his grip on you. You're almost about to escape. Do not sabotage it by treating him with respect and decency. That's reserved for people who are safe and stable. Move out when he's gone. If you really want to break up with him in person, do it in a public area in the day like a park or cafe. Do not bring a bag with you in case he plants a tracker. OP. Yes, he was. I don't think I can mention exactly what happened on this sub, but he claims he suffered a mental health break that almost critically harmed us both over an argument about him trying to cheat on me again. I would never touch anyone 3 years younger than me, much less 18, so that puts a lot in perspective. I think at most, I'll just send him a text message if I'm feeling really bad about it, but definitely getting everything out while he's at work. Commenter 3. You're not taking the coward's way out, you're finally taking the safe way out, and his sudden kindness is exactly what keeps people stuck in cycles like this. So don't over-explain, say it clearly, leave, and don't look back. And I think that reframe, safe way out, not coward's way out, is exactly what someone in OP's position needs to hear. Because when you've spent years justifying yourself to one person, you start to believe their version of events. The civil route isn't always the right one. Sometimes getting out is the closure. Update, 3 days later. Hi everyone. Here's the original post for context. I wanted to come back and thank each and every one of you and let you know I'm safe and sound. I just finished getting the last of everything I could from my old house today. I wish I could say it went smoothly, but it did not. My ex had a feeling something was up and decided to take a sick day from work so I couldn't leave as smooth as I planned. I woke up to him staring at me from my doorway and I had a really uneasy feeling, so I just grabbed myself and my animals and left. I sent a text asking him to vacate the property so I could get my stuff, broke it off, and blocked him on everything I could think of. I had to get an escort to the property and I made sure I had a group of people with me, and it seemed to freak him out enough to leave and give me some very limited time to pack my things. I'm not concerned with him tracking me as he doesn't own a car and I'll be a few hours away. But I went over everything just in case. I have an unfortunately long car ride ahead of me, but I wanted to let everyone who helped me and remembered my post know I'm safe, my pets are safe, and I got everything out. I really appreciate each person who gave me the strength and courage to end things on my terms and not give him the chance or opportunity to manipulate me by taking the civil route. You're all very good and kind people. I wish I had a longer update, but it's been a long day already and the worst is over. All that's left to do now is go be happy. TLDR, I was able to break things off with my ex-partner of 7 years and got out safely. All pets and belongings that are important are accounted for. Okay, he actually made it out. And that detail, waking up to David just standing in the doorway, staring, I mean, that's terrifying. No words, just watching. OP didn't overthink it, just grabbed his animals and left. Good. That took real courage. That was exactly the right call. Okay, and let's get into the top comments. Commenter 1. The I woke up to him staring at me from the doorway part genuinely made my stomach droop. Glad OP trusted his instincts and got out safely. Commenter 2. I wonder if his parents are homophobic and that resulted in him going no contact with them. I hope this wasn't the case, but it's sadly all too common. Comment 3. Tale as old as time. Older partner picks a younger, inexperienced one they think they can control, turns abusive once the younger partner tries to assert themselves. Comment 4. I did the same thing at nearly the same ages. One thing when you feel guilty and lonely that you will find so much solace in is your new place. Since you went from your parents to him, you don't yet know the feeling of when you come home and you're not walking on eggshells. When you see your stuff in the new place but it doesn't feel like home yet and you just kind of giggle about it, it is the weirdest, most freeing feeling. When you come home and your apartment isn't great but it's your space and everything is as you left it and peaceful, it's fucking life-changing. I promise it seems small, but it's amazing. There will be others here that will confirm. There is nothing quite like it, the peace. And to this story as a whole, what happened to OP is textbook. Older partner, younger target, fast move, isolation from family, slow erosion from self. Dave wasn't losing control when he got more possessive. He was panicking because OP was finally becoming someone he couldn't contain anymore. The mental health break that almost harmed both over an argument about cheating, that wasn't a break, that was a threat. OP, you did the right thing. You don't owe closure to someone who never gave you safety. Okay, let's move to the next story. This post is from Am I the Asshole by user Happy Pomelo Hope. And the tagline is, Am I the asshole for not being considerate to my friend's boyfriend's allergies? Hello everyone. Firstly, I'd like to set the context that I understand that nuts are a very common allergy in some places. It's just not really a common allergy in my country. Before this incident, I didn't know a single person allergic to nuts. The most common allergy where I live is seafood. With that being said, I live in Southeast Asia. Nuts is not an unusual ingredient in our cuisine. We had a potluck with our friends. We're in our early 20s. I bought some pad thai, one of my favorites. It has nuts as an ingredient. My friends love it too. I told the group chat I would be bringing it and no one had any issues. One of my friends bought her boyfriend. He's Asian, and this was our first time meeting him. He seemed rather offended seeing the pad thai with nuts all over it because he's allergic. He implied that I'm inconsiderate for bringing a common danger that can harm others. I apologized and said I didn't know he was allergic. He said I should have known it's a common allergy and that should be avoided. I said our group ate out together in a Thai place in the past and had pad thai and no one objected to my message saying I would be bringing it. My friend, his girlfriend, and she forgot to inform us about his allergy or forgot that pad thai has peanuts, which caused somewhat of an argument between them. There were other foods he could eat, and though the evening started off awkward, it eventually got better. The next day, we got a message in the group chat saying, please be considerate of others and avoid nuts next time, thanks. Was I being inconsiderate? I wasn't aware of his allergy. Am I the asshole? Edit. Thanks for the comments, everyone. Glad to know I'm not going crazy. I'll have to talk to my friend about this. Also, for anyone wondering why I mentioned he's Asian, I kind of meant maybe his allergy is a genetic thing from his American side, as I understand it's more common there. I probably should have added that he grew up there too. Anyway, thanks again. I'm off to enjoy some pad thai and peanut kisses, Filipino sweet snack. Update. I spoke to my friend. I think boyfriend is too strong of a word. Apparently they met online and had just recently started meeting up in person. My take is that he acted out to give her a reason to end things with him, because apparently they got into a longer fight about it and are no longer seeing each other. Why I had to be collateral damage in all this, I don't know. Anyway, that's that. Comments. Coastal Kid 92. Not the asshole. You can't plan for an allergy you're not aware of, and if your friend's boyfriend wasn't in the group chat to advocate for his own allergy, she should have. See, and this is what I love about comment sections like this. Everyone just cuts straight to it. You said it clean. You can't plan for an allergy you don't know about. Period. 67676767. Not the asshole. His girlfriend should have told you, and he sounds like a sook for it. Even in Western countries where nut allergies are more common, it's normal for people to bring food with allergens to potlucks unless they know someone's allergic. Honestly, I think he needs to take a breath because you literally didn't know. Wonderful ad 6089. Not the asshole. No one in your friend group has a nut allergy, and you've all eaten nuts at events before without issue. Are you supposed to avoid all types of allergens for friends' potlucks because someone might unexpectedly bring someone along that might have an allergy of some kind? No, that'd be ridiculous. It was the girlfriend's responsibility to tell everyone she was bringing the boyfriend and that he's allergic to nuts, so please exclude nuts from anything you bring. She didn't do that, and you even gave a heads up of what you were bringing, where she could have asked if it had nuts, but she didn't. You are not at fault here, and she is trying to deflect her responsibility onto you so that her boyfriend is less mad at her mess up. Alright, so what's the takeaway here? If you have a severe allergy, or you're bringing someone with one to a social event, that is on you to communicate. Full stop. This isn't about being inconsiderate. This is about basic responsibility. OP bought a dish they'd made before, announced it in advance, and the only person who could have prevented the whole situation chose not to. And the audacity of sending a group message afterwards as if the whole crew needed a lesson in allergy awareness. Come on, OP. You are not the asshole, not even close. Anyway, if you enjoyed today's stories, drop a like, leave a comment, let me know. Have you ever been in a situation where someone made you feel guilty for their own lack of communication? Because I feel like this happens more than people admit. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you all in the next one.